旅行って最高に楽しいですよね。うちの英会話ですんで、よく話題に上がります。キャンプ、観光、温泉巡り、自分が忙しいので、個人的にはそんなに頻繁に旅行には行けないのですが、生徒さんとそういう旅行の話をすると、どっかに行きたくなりますね。どこ行こうかな？鎌倉がいいかな？最近行ってないからね。trip という単語は旅行の話をするときに大体使われますね。でもね、気をつけないと変な風に受け取られてしまう可能性があります。ありますよ。気をつけないと。今回はそういうテーマですね。So, let's travel to the world of English. We'll look at this topic in 4 logical steps with the problem, the reason, the solution, and some example sentences. Bon voyage! First, let's look at the problem. I love tripping. I love tripping. So this is a funny sentence. There's no getting away from it. But here's the thing. It's funny not only on a grammatical level, but it's even funnier on a cultural level. Now, I know most of the people who watch this channel have a firm grasp on the basics of English and might not actually say this kind of thing in a conversation. But you'd be surprised at the amount of people who come out with this kind of utterance in the hurly-burly of a fast-paced conversation. It happens. What do you do in your free time? In my free time? Let me think. I do loads of stuff. Like what? Like, are you a golfer? No, I don't golf so much these days. That's a shame. I'm pretty big into golf. Well, the thing that I love the most is tripping. Tripping, you say? Yes, my wife and I love tripping. Your wife trips with you? Oh, yes. Just last month, we went to Las Vegas to trip. You went all the way there to trip? Sure. And my kids like tripping as well. With your kids? Well, that sounds a bit off. Oh, we do everything together. Okay, well, I've got to go. I really must go. Hey, don't go. We could trip together sometime. So trip is a really good word, but you've got to be careful with it. It could get you in soapy bubble if you're not aware of the double meaning. Soapy bubble, it's Cockney rhyming slang for trouble. Soapy bubble, trouble. When you use trip as a verb, it means to take illegal drugs and go on a trip somewhere inside your head. You don't actually go anywhere, it's all in your mind. So if someone says, well, the thing that I love the most is tripping. Tripping, you say? Yes, my wife and I love tripping. Your wife trips with you? The listener might think that you're a person who's into recreational drugs. No, that's not the kind of impression that you want to give now, is it? When we use the word trip, meaning traveling, it's most commonly used as a noun. We pair it with verbs like take, make, and go. Take a trip to Paris. Make a trip to my hometown. Go on a trip to India for business. As you saw from the last one, when we use go, we have to pair it with on, as in, go on a trip. Now, I've got a feeling that most people in Japan think that the word trip is only used for ryoko, tabi, toraberu, like for very long distances, but it can also be used for very short distances too. It's quite surprising, really. Take a trip to the post office. Make a trip to the toilet. Trip is also used a lot in the form of an adjective. Trippy! Again, This is related to drugs. For something that is really weird and unexplainable, like you're hallucinating. Wow. That's pretty trippy. There's also an English joke that some people say when someone trips on something. It's fun to say, "Did you have a good trip?" Did you have a good trip? Very funny. So now we know we have to be very careful about using the word trip. It's not normally used as a verb. Go traveling. This is probably one of the most common ways to talk about going somewhere for a longer period of time. Traveling seems to have kind of a romantic feel to it. That's why it's often used in movies, in books, and of course in songs. It sounds like an adventure. That's why we use it for exciting things like these. Travel to outer space. Time travel. Great Scott! My son is traveling through Southeast Asia during his gap year. She traveled around the world as a volunteer on the Peace Boat. I'd like to do more traveling this year as I'm starting to get itchy feet. Go on a journey. When we use the word journey, it really feels like it's a really long trip. Again, we usually use the word journey as a noun, but if you do use it as a verb, it sounds really kind of old-fashioned and somewhat dramatic. Some people even use the word journey to complain about how far away somewhere is from where you are.
Getting to Tokyo every day is such a journey.
But most people use journey to talk about a long trip. It feels like an adventure. I'm going on a journey across Africa, so I won't be back for a few months. Mito Komon journeyed incognito across Japan, helping common people. Journey is also used a lot for when we talk about personal growth and change. A weight loss journey, a journey of self-discovery, a journey to financial independence. Take a trip. This one somehow feels the shortest and possibly the least exciting. It's often used in these contexts. Make a road trip. Go on a business trip. Take a day trip. Go on a field trip. It's a very versatile way of speaking, but as I mentioned, it's not quite as exciting as the previous two. It's very practical. My parents are away on a trip this week, so I've got the house to myself. I'd love to take a trip to Thailand at some point. One more point that I find a lot of people are not quite sure how to say, ofuku. In English, you'd say a round trip, or sometimes a return trip. Katamichi is one way. Reminds me of a song. Choo choo train a-coming down the track. I've traveled extensively, but I have to say the toilets in Japan are out of this world. Yes, when overseas tourists come to Japan, one of the things that they always comment on is the cleanliness and the convenience of the public toilets. If something is out of this world, it means it's unbelievably fantastic.
How was your sales trip to Hokkaido?
It was very fruitful. Our customers agreed to the deal and will be signing the contract soon. So, if something is fruitful, it means it was very successful and, it's often used for something which is good for your business. If your apple tree bears a lot of fruit, that means you're very happy, you get lots of fruit. So if your business is very fruitful, it means you get a lot of money. Ho-ho. Have you ever seen the movie A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick? It's pretty trippy stuff. If you've ever seen this movie from back in 1971, you'll probably know what I mean. It is super trippy and a little bit scary at times. When I had sciatica a few years back, the pain traveled down my leg like a bolt of lightning. We can also use the verb travel for talking about pain. It might seem funny, but people actually use it like this. It's like the pain is moving from one place of the body to another. My YouTube journey has had its ups and downs, but it's one of the most fun things I've ever done. Yep, it's definitely not easy, but I'm sure I'll get there in the end with the support of all those lovely people out there just like you. Thank you.